Everybody, it's Emily from Arc Schooling, and today I wanted to talk about a homeschool related subject, which is morning baskets. A long time ago, when my 3 teens were small, we would do what I would call circle time. And we did that from the time they were very little, so like just starting school age, all the way through just before my boys hit about middle school, so like 6th or 7th grade was when we kind of stopped. But basically what we would do was have this basket of like things that I wanted to cover and that just didn't quite fit in necessarily with the other subjects we were studying, or just books that I wanted to make sure we read or whatever. And that was just like our way of doing that. We would do memory work, we would do an art project, things like that, all together as a family during circle time. And I loved it. I miss circle time with my babies some days. And so, but we haven't done it in years because, they hit middle school and high school and it just, it didn't really work out anymore. The only thing that carried over from that was the read aloud. I decided, now that my youngest is 7 and willing to sit for school, that we would start doing our own circle time. But since it's just me and her, I don't call it circle time anymore because it's just the two of us. It's not really a circle. So I call it morning time, but it's basically the same idea as the morning basket. And I'm just going to show you what it is we do. This is my current basket. I just bought this a set of these like stackable little plastic tubs that I got at Walmart when they were doing their school supply sales, and I thought I could use those for something. I didn't have any plan, and so mostly I just use 1 or 2 of them right now, but this is my morning basket. And so I'm just going to kind of go through and show you what we do. So for our morning time, I've kind of laid it out so that each month has a bit of a theme and we do something different each day. Certain things we do every day. So for example, every day we have a word of the day, or word of the week rather. So every day we go over our word of the week, which is just a sight word that I will want her to work on. So we'll practice our word of the week, and that'll change each week. And we also work on memory work every day. So we have a poem that we're working on memorizing, so we work on that every day. And we always do our read aloud. And those are the things that just happen every day. So currently this week her read aloud was Squanto's Journey, because we're reading this for the co-op class we're doing. And it's just a longer picture book, so it only took us this week to read it. We finished it today. We just read a little bit together and we talk about what we're reading. For the rest of the month, we will be reading Dear America, A Journey to the New World, The Diary of Remember Patience Whipple. This is all about the Mayflower. I remember my oldest daughter read this when she was about 10 or 11, I think, and it was one of her favorite books, and she really loved this series. And Regina's never read anything in this series before, so I thought this might be a good place to start. Each day of the week, we have a different thing that we're going to be doing. So on Monday, we focus on character traits. So we'll be reading through some of the stories in The Adventures of Mally and Keela, a virtues book for children. And this is a wonderful resource. It gives you a story, and then for each story you read, there are notes at the end for you to discuss with your children about different types of character traits or virtues. So this one has commitment, cooperation, orderliness, and tolerance. And I really enjoy the stories. They're really short and sweet, and they're very easy to discuss. And I love that they have the notes all laid out, and for each one of those notes, at the end of the story, they talk about how that related to the story, and then they give you some questions to use with your child to kind of spur on a discussion. So I really love this. I don't know if there's more in the series or if this is the only book. I hope there's more, because this is just a really great resource. I really love it. So that's what we do on Mondays. On Tuesdays, we do poetry, and we just read poems. And I'm sad because my Random House book of poetry that we're supposed to be reading in grades 1 and 2 for Build Your Library fell apart, like literally just fell apart. I've had it for too long, I guess, and so I haven't replaced it yet, so we're just using our favorite poems, old and new book, and currently she's memorizing The Mist and All by Dixie Wilson, and we just read that poem every day, and then on Tuesdays we'll read some other poetry as well. So right now we're kind of focusing on the holiday section, so that one is a November poem, obviously, because it's about the fall, but we also reread Halloween, a Halloween poem. We're going to read Thanksgiving Day when it's Thanksgiving. So, you know, we just kind of focus on whatever's relevant. And then on Wednesdays, I like to do some kind of mythology or fairy tale or tale. And I showed her a couple different books we could choose from, and she picked this one. So this is the Usborne Stories from Around the World, which we did read from this a year or two ago when we did Build Your Library Kindergarten, but she doesn't remember most of it, so we're reading these again for the month, and next month we might pick something different, but just a fairy tale mythology type thing. On Thursdays, we cover art history, and for that, I am using this awesome resource. This is Vincent's Starry Night and Other Stories, A Children's History of Art. Guys, this book is gorgeous. Can I just say, I love this. I heard about it a month or two ago, I think, and I immediately went out and bought it. And it's beautiful. It's a big, heavy book, and it's hardcover, so it's a little bit hefty, but it's beautiful. So right now, like today, we read the story about prehistoric art. It just gives you a little story about the piece of art and how it came to be. So obviously when we're talking prehistory, it's kind of like all conjecture. We don't really know how it came to be, but when you get to like actual modern day paintings, or not modern day, but once we have writing and we know about it, it gives like the real stories behind works of art and artists' lives, and it's just a gorgeous, beautiful book. I'm excited to own this, and I can foresee this becoming a huge part of our homeschool, actually, because my daughter loves art, and she was actually really excited about this book. So you could easily turn this into a full curriculum, I think. It wouldn't take much. It talks a lot about what was happening in the world at the time, so you could easily pull other resources. This and the Usborne Encyclopedia of World History and some pertinent read-alouds that go along with whatever you're studying. Seriously, I'm already daydreaming about how I can turn this into something. So, yeah, I love this book. And then on Fridays, we read picture books that I just want to make sure we get to, because, you know, especially now that she's 7 and going on 8 and she's getting older and she's learning to read, it's starting to become more about let's read chapter books and let's read novels, and there are still so many great picture books that I just don't want her to miss out on. So on Fridays, we pick out books that are kind of going with our theme. So the theme for this month, obviously being November, would be Thanksgiving, as you could tell by what our read-alouds were this month. And I have a few books that I just want to make sure we get to this month. So one of my favorites is Thank You, Sarah, The Woman Who Saved Thanksgiving by Laurie Halse Anderson, who is one of my favorite children's book authors too. She's brilliant. But this book is great. This is all about the woman who made sure that Thanksgiving became a national holiday. Because as we all know, Thanksgiving, as we've been taught in school, is kind of more mythology than actual history. I did make sure we covered at least the real Squanto. And we'll read about like how Thanksgiving became a holiday with this book. The N.C. Wythe's Pilgrims, which is a bit more whitewashed, but the artwork is so beautiful in this book. I love the artwork. I don't know if we're going to read the whole story. We might just look at the pictures, because it is a bit of a longer picture book, but the pictures are gorgeous. And then I also have these 3 books that I love these books. I read these to my older 3 kids when they were younger, and I just think they're phenomenal. And these are all by Kate Waters, and each book is a day in the life of a child. So this one is Sarah Morton's Day, A Day in the Life of a Pilgrim Girl. This one is Samuel Eaton's Day, A Day in the Life of a Pilgrim Boy. And then we have Tompanum's Day, a Wampanoag Indian boy during pilgrim times. And each book goes through the life of what or what that child's life would have been like during that time period, which I don't know about you, but my favorite thing ever about history when I was a kid was learning about how other people lived, like normal people. I mean, we all read about the kings and the queens and the presidents and all of that, but what was it like for ordinary, regular people? And these books are beautiful. They are all photographs of an actual person dressed in period garb. They go through the life of that person, and it's just what an average person's life would have been like if they were a Wampanoag Indian or if they were a Pilgrim boy or girl. Yeah, these were made at Plymouth Plantation, where you can actually go and go through the museum and stuff and see the Mayflower and all of that, but you can also see people dressed in costume and acting out what life would have been like during that time. And so they had people dress up and act out life. And I just love these. These are such good stories. I love the books. So we're going to be reading those. So that is what I have in our morning time basket. And I plan on just doing this throughout the year and kind of pulling different resources for each month as to what the theme will be. So we'll still cover the same materials that we always were studying in history and in science and all that, but she'll still be doing her reading lessons and her handwriting and all those things that we were doing otherwise, but we'll start the day with our morning time basket and just sort of make sure we don't miss all that good stuff that kind of tends to get pushed off to the side. So those are my thoughts on morning time and our morning basket and what we've been doing in our homeschool. I hope you enjoyed this video. Do you do morning time or circle time or some incarnation of that in your homeschool day? And what does it look like at your house? I'd love to hear, because I've obsessively been reading about it the last week. Even though we used to do this in our own homeschool, it's not like I'm new to the topic or the idea, but I still just I felt the need to go learn more about what other people do so that I could kind of think out what I wanted to do. So if you do this in your homeschool, I would very much love to hear about it. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in my next one. Happy reading. Bye.